Everyone, good morning to all of you and welcome to the EduTap and welcome to the Finance 360-degree sessions in which we cover the important and relevant finance current affairs and the RBI notifications, RBI press releases that are very important from your exam perspective, let it be the RBI grade B, SEBI grade A or the NABARD grade A examination. So do tell me that am I audible, am I clearly audible, am I clearly visible? So today we are going to discuss two very important news articles, two very important notifications that have been released by the Reserve Bank of India. The first one is regarding the RBI ASEAN countries. They have joined hands for the project Nexus. So what is this project Nexus? Who has conceptualized this project Nexus? Is it IMF? Is it World Bank? Is it WTO? Is it BIS? So who is the organization that has conceptualized this project Nexus that we are going to discuss? Okay, next news article that I'm getting quite many requests that please cover this. So India's external debt. So we are going to discuss that what data the Reserve Bank of India has released and what the RBI is trying to tell in this India's external debt data. Okay, so we are going to discuss these two very important news articles and they are very important from your exam perspective, from the objective point of view, from the descriptive point of view. You can use the data points, right? So let's get started. I hope all of you are ready for today's session. So before starting with the session, do subscribe to the YouTube channel of EduTap and join our Telegram channel where you will get the PDF of the session. So you are going to get the PDF of the session in the Telegram channel and the link for the Telegram channel is provided in the description box below. So let's start with the first news article, that is the RBI and ASEAN central banks have teamed up for the faster cross-border payments. So there is the, here you can see that there is the different countries that have come together for the project Nexus. Okay, so Reserve Bank of India has announced its participation in a collaborative effort with ASEAN countries to create a platform that will facilitate the instantaneous cross-border retail payments. So what is happening, that a project is going on regarding the cross-border retail payments, okay, that between countries, between India and let's say Singapore, between India and Malaysia, between India and Philippines, there should be the instantaneous transfer of the money that should happen. That is, the retail payment should be happening in a faster manner. Like you want to send your money to a friend that is living in Nagpur or that is living in Rajasthan. Okay, you are in some other part of the country. You are in the north of the country. You have to send the money to the south of the country. You can easily, in seconds, you can transfer the money using the UPI system, using the Unified Payment Interface system, right? Similar kind of transfer of the payments we want in between the countries, that is, we want instantaneous cross-border retail payments. Okay, retail payments are the payments such as the person-to-person transfers as well as person-to-merchant transfers that could happen in the instantaneous manner in the cross-border. In the cross-border, that means in between different countries. So if you remember that the Reserve Bank of India has been continuously linking with the different countries for the India's fast payment system. So India is collaborating with different countries on the bilateral basis for the India's fast payment system that is getting connected with the fast payment system of the other countries for the person-to-person transfers, for the person-to-merchant transfers, like the India's UPI that was connected with Sri Lanka fast payment system, so that there is the easier transfer of the money that can happen between UPI and Sri Lanka. So this kind of bilateral connections are going on, but now there is the thing that while India and its partner countries can continue to benefit through such bilateral connectivity of the fast payment system, it has been said that a multilateral approach will provide further improvement to our efforts in expanding the international reach of the Indian payment system. That means if we are connecting with different countries one by one on the bilateral basis, so what is happening, it is taking a lot of efforts from our end also, that we are trying to connect with each country one by one. So the payment system operators, they have to make this connection and all. But let's say that we are connecting with a project, okay, and in this project there are many other countries that are connected with. So if we are connecting with this project, we will be connected to the fast payment system of all of these countries. That means in a single go, we will be able to connect with multiple fast payment system. So rather than the bilateral approach, that is also good, but the multilateral approach will give us further expansion in the UPI system, further expansion of our fast payment system. That means in one go we will be able to connect with multiple countries. So UPI can connect with multiple countries in one go. So that is the multilateral approach that we are talking about. So RBI has now joined the project Nexus, a multilateral international initiative to enable the instant cross-border retail payments by interlinking the domestic fast payment system with the fast payment system of the other countries. So this is the project Nexus. So project Nexus completes comprehensive blueprint for connecting domestic instant payment system globally and prepares for work towards live implementation. So simply the BIS, that is the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub, has led or has conceptualized the development of the project Nexus. So that seeks to enhance the cross-border payment by connecting multiple domestic instant payment systems globally. So here the Nexus, that is conceptualized by the BIS, that is the Bank of International Settlement Innovation Hub, aims to connect the fast payment system of the 4 ASEAN countries, that is the Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and India, that have joined hands in the project Nexus. And so these are the first mover or the founding members of this platform. So these are the 4 countries. So here these are the Bank of Malaysia, the Reserve Bank of India, the Central Bank of Philippines, the Central Bank of Singapore and the Central Bank of Thailand. So these are the 5 countries, the 4 ASEAN countries as well as India, that have joined hands for the project Nexus to further the project Nexus and to work for the project Nexus, that is conceptualized by the BIS Innovation Hub. So I hope this is clear. So an agreement to this effect was signed by the BIS and the central banks of the founding countries, that is the Central Bank of Malaysia, Central Bank of Thailand, Central Bank of Philippines and the Central Bank of Singapore. They have the different names that you can read, and the Central Bank of India, that is the Reserve Bank of India. On June 30, 2024, in the Basel, Switzerland, there is the agreement that has been signed by these central banks and the BIS that we are going to further the efforts in the project Nexus and we are going to join the project Nexus. So now Indonesia, which has been involved from the early stages in this project, continues to be involved as a special observer. So Indonesia is for now the special observer. Okay. The platform can be extended to more countries. That's why it is a multilateral approach that India has joined. The Reserve Bank of India has joined the project Nexus, so that whenever this project Nexus goes live, our country's fast payment system will be connected to the fast payment system of Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand and one other country is Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore and Philippines. So you can understand that in one go through the project Nexus, if we are connecting with the project Nexus, our fast payment system, that is UPI, will be connected to all of these fast payment system. And if more countries are joining the project Nexus, that means directly we can connect our fast payment system with all the countries that are joining the project Nexus. So we are the founding members, we are the first movers of this project Nexus, and now it has been expected that this project Nexus is going to go live by 2026. So it is in its starting phases and it is going to go live soon with the help of these central banks. Okay. Once functional, Nexus will play an important role in making the retail cross-border payments efficient, faster and more cost-effective. So you can understand that if you want to send the money, okay, if you want to send the remittances to your relatives that are living in Philippines, that are living in Malaysia and such, you can send the remittances very easily using the connection between the fast payment system of India and Malaysia or Philippines. Okay. Similarly, if the people that are working in Philippines or Malaysia, the Indian people that are working there, if they want to send the money to India, they can send it easily to the relatives that are living in India. So person-to-person transfers will be very easy. The person-to-merchant transfer will also be made easier because this is for the retail transfers. Okay. So person-to-merchant transfers, if you are going to Malaysia, you can use your UPI, you can use your Philippines, if you are going to Philippines, you can use your UPI system there also if this project Nexus goes live. So this is the complete idea. I hope it is clear. Give me a thumbs up if this is clear. If till now everything is clear, give me a thumbs up. that you have got the point, you have understood the point of the project Nexus. Who has conceptualized this project Nexus? That is the BIS Innovation Hub, which central banks are the first movers, are the founding members of this project Nexus. RBI, Central Bank of Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand and Philippines. And who is the observer country, special observer? So that is Indonesia. When is it going to go live? That is 2026. Okay. Yes, BIS is the Bank for International Settlement, that is providing a platform. So Bank for International Settlement. This is the Bank for International Settlement that provides a platform for the central banks of the country to come together. So it provides the international cooperation between the central banks of the country. So BIS is a very, very major name in the finance segment because it is considered the bank for the central banks around the country. That's why whenever the BIS starts a project, the central banks, they come together because the BIS is the platform for the international cooperation of the central banks. Okay. So this is the Bank for International Settlement that also releases quite the norms for the whole of the world. Okay, so clear. Now let's move forward with the India's external debt as at the end of March 2024. So that is the financial year of 2023-24 has ended in March 2024. So now the India's external debt data has come out. So at the end of March 2024, India's external debt was higher. Okay, external debt was placed at US dollar 663.8 billion. That is, it is an increase of US dollar 39.7 billion over the previous year. That is, by the March 2023, whatever external debt we had, now from the March 2023 to March 2024, there is the increase in the external debt that has happened by US dollar 39.7 billion. Okay, that means let's say in March 2023, we had the external debt of $100 billion. Now in March 2024, we have the external debt was placed at March 2024, let's say $139.7 billion. That is, we are having an increase of $39.7 billion of the debt. But if you see, so this is, you will say that, okay, this is a bad situation that our external debt has increased by a lot. But actually, the external debt to GDP ratio has declined. So that means external debt to GDP ratio has declined to 18.7% from the previous 19%. Okay, so external debt to total GDP ratio. So this shows that if our external debt is 139.7 and the GDP is, let's say, 200 or 2000 or something. So the external debt to GDP ratio has declined from 19% to 18.7%. So that is good. Okay. In numbers, you can say that yes, the external debt is increasing, but as a ratio, because the external debt is increasing, but our GDP ratio is also increasing, or the GDP is also increasing of the country from the previous years. So as compared to the GDP, the external debt as compared to the GDP has actually declined to 18.7% from the 19%. So this is good. This is good. Okay. Now valuation effect. So many of you might get confused in this valuation effect. So let's try to understand this. Valuation effect. So let's say that India wants to take the borrowings of 1000 rupees. Okay. So we need the external borrowing of rupees 1000. Okay. Now let's say $1 is equal to 100 rupees. So how many of the dollars we require if we require the borrowing of 1000 rupees? How many dollars do we require to borrow from outside? If we need rupees 1000, how many dollars do we require? Yes, fast payment system is what? For India, the fast payment system is UPI. Okay. For other countries, there are different fast payment systems of the other countries. So our fast payment system will connect with the fast payment system of the other countries. Okay. Our fast payment system is UPI. 10. Very good, Jyoti. So yes. So if we require rupees 1000, that means we will need to borrow $10. We will need to borrow $10. Let's say that now the value of dollar has increased. $1 equal to 150 rupees. Now, if we want rupees 1000, how many dollars do we need to borrow now? How many dollars do we need to borrow? Tell me fast, huh?
How many dollars? 15, 20, 5, how many dollars? Is it more dollars that we need to borrow, or is it less dollars that we need to borrow now? If $1, the dollar value has increased. Before, for $1 you had to pay 100 rupees. For $1 now you have to pay 150 rupees. That means dollar is appreciating. The value, the price of dollar is increasing. The value of dollar is increasing. So now if you want 1000 rupees, because your borrowing requirement is same, it is 6.66. So we can say 6.66, or we can say approximately $7. That means when the dollars is appreciating, we will borrow less because in rupees we want the same amount. So we will borrow less. Same has been told here. So I hope now you will be able to understand this valuation effect. Valuation effect due to appreciation of the US dollar. So US dollar has appreciated against rupees. So US dollar has appreciated against rupees. That means for $1 now you have to pay more rupees, or for $1 you are getting more rupees. So the valuation effect due to appreciation of rupees has happened. Now if you are borrowing in dollars, you will be able to convert those rupees for more. You will be able to convert those dollars for more rupees. So appreciation of US dollars has happened against the Indian rupee, and it's not only that only our currency is depreciating, okay? It's not only that only rupees is depreciating. So rupees, let's say before $1 is equal to rupees 100. Now $1 is equal to rupees 150. That means rupees has depreciated against dollars and dollar has appreciated against rupees, because for $1 now you have to pay more and you have to give more rupees to get $1. So rupees has depreciated in value. Rupees is becoming weaker and dollar is becoming stronger. It is not like that it is only happening with Indian rupee. Even the euro, even yen, even the SDRs, their value is also decreasing against the dollars. That means dollar is appreciating not only against Indian rupees but also against the other major currencies such as the yen, euro and SDRs, we can say. So the appreciation that the US dollar has seen against the rupees is nearly US dollar 8.7 billion. So if we required, try to understand this very clearly, that before, let's say we required the borrowing of $100 billions. But now because of the appreciation of dollars, now we require the borrowing of only, let's say 91 billion. So 9 billion, 8.7 billion means approximately 9 billion of the valuation increase that has happened, valuation effect on the US dollar. So that has gone up, okay. So excluding the valuation effect, external debt would have increased by US dollar 48.4 billion. But now if we include the valuation effect, because of the appreciation of dollars, we only had to borrow US dollar 39.7 billion at the end of March 2024. So if the dollars would not have appreciated, we would have to borrow US dollar 48.4 billion. That means if the dollar would not have appreciated, we would have to borrow $10, but because the dollars has appreciated, we only need to borrow $6.66. The same idea, right? That let's say $1 is equal to 100 rupees. Now $1 is equal to 150 rupees. To get 1000 rupees of the borrowing, without the appreciation of dollars, we would have to borrow $10. But now because of the appreciation of dollar, because the dollars has appreciated, we only need to borrow $6.66. Similarly, if the valuation effect would not have happened, we would have to borrow 48.4 billion dollars. But because the valuation effect has happened, the borrowing is only instead of because if we are excluding the valuation effect, the borrowing only increased by US dollar 39.7 billion dollar or something. So I hope this is clear. That valuation effect, the appreciation of dollars has happened. The appreciation of dollars has happened against the rupees, and this appreciation is amounted nearly to the US dollar 8.7 billion. So excluding the valuation effect, the borrowing of our country would have increased to US dollar 48.4 billion dollars, but if we include this appreciation of dollar, it only increased our borrowing by 39.7 billion dollars because the dollars appreciated. So whatever rupee we required, we could cover it with the lesser of the dollars also. Clear? Here the data is given by the Reserve Bank of India. So here the Reserve Bank of India has said this statement that the appreciation of US dollar has happened against the Indian rupees. So I don't think that we need to question this statement. If the RBI is saying that on the year-on-year basis, the US dollar has appreciated against Indian rupees, so we will have to take it at the face value, right? Now there are the more data points that have been given by the Reserve Bank of India that you can read, but the important points I have explained to you. Now simply the idea is that the share of short-term debt with the original maturity of up to 1 year in total external debt has declined to 18.5%. Okay, so this is the idea that the share of short-term debt in total external debt has actually declined that we are taking. So you can understand that we are taking more of the long-term debt, and usually more of the long-term debt is taken for your asset purposes, for your capital expenditure purposes. So the long-term debt is is better than the short-term debt, because whenever you are taking the short-term debt, so that can have some problems attached with it, because you are taking the short-term debt for catering to the short-term problems. If you are taking the long-term debt, that is usually for the development purposes. Okay, so the share of short-term debt has actually declined as a percentage of the total external debt from the 20.6% to 18.5%. So this is good. The US dollar denominated debt remained the largest component of the India's external debt. As I've told you that we are usually taking the borrowing in the US dollar terminologies. So US dollar denominated debt remained the largest component of India's external debt with a share of 53.8% of the total debt we have taken in the form of US dollar denominated debt. So these are some of the data points. I don't think that you require my stating out the facts. You can read it. If there is any problem that you find, you can tell me in the comment section, but I think that you can read it out. Yes, we can. Lower borrowing means that is not true. That is not true, that lower borrowing. Let's say that before we required to borrow rupees 1000, and now because our country is doing good, so the external borrowing is only 500 that we require. So before we required to borrow $10, but now we will require to borrow $5. But see, when appreciation, let's say that the borrowing requirement has not declined, we still need to borrow rupees 1000. But if we need to borrow rupees 1000, let's say dollars has appreciated, so in the dollar terms, the borrowing will be shown as $6.66. That means in the dollar terms, the borrowing will be shown lesser if the dollar is appreciating. Okay. So this is the idea. Now short-term debt on residual maturity basis, debt obligations that include long-term debt by original maturity falling due over the next 12 months. So the simple idea is that the long-term debt that we had taken, so now the time has come that we have to return that debt. So there is the short-term residual maturity that is left. So that is constituting 42.9% of the total external debt. Okay, so the long-term debt that we had taken, now the residual maturity is left less. So it is a short-term debt for us now, because the time has come to a lesser point. So this is the idea. Outstanding debt of both government and non-government sectors increased at end of March 2024 over the level a year ago, as well as the share of outstanding debt of non-financial corporations in total external debt was the highest at 37.4%, followed by the deposit-taking corporations, general government and the other financial corporations. So this is the basic idea. You can read about it. So non-financial corporations are taking the highest of the debt, we can say. Okay, highest of the share of the total external debt was taken by non-financial corporations that are not connected with the financial segment of our country, such as let's say the companies that are connected with cloth, footwear, automobiles. So they are taking more loans. Okay, and non-financial, other than the non-financial corporations. So this is the whole idea. Loans remain the largest component of the external debt. Now external debt is like, whenever we talk about the external debt, that also includes the deposits of the non-residents. So external debt includes the loans as well as external debt also includes the deposits of the non-residents, because this is also a liability, because we will have to return the money when the non-residents demand. So non-residents have deposited their money, or the NRIs have deposited their money in our country, in the NRE accounts, in the NRO accounts, in the non-resident ordinary or non-resident external accounts. They have deposited their money. Now whenever they want, they can take their money back. So these deposits that are done by the non-residents is also a liability, is also a part of the external debt. Okay, so this is it. I hope you have understood this clearly. Debt service, that is principal repayments and interest payment, increased to 66.7% of current receipts. That means the interest payments are increasing. So this is it. Now in the FSR, if you see the financial stability report, you will understand that why the interest payments are increasing. It's not only in our country but around the world. The interest payments have become a very major problem. So that we are going to understand in the financial stability report. So I'm going to bring a complete session on Saturday. I hope you will be joining with me, because like my Saturday was off, but I'm still because I had promised you that in this week I will be bringing the FSR. So I will be taking your session on Saturday at 10 a.m. So be with me. We will be discussing the FSR. There is a lot of interesting points that are there that you can use in your descriptive answer writing. We will be discussing the data points from the objective point of view also. So be with me in the Saturday session on the FSR at 10 a.m. So this Saturday I am going to take your session. Okay. I hope it is clear. This is the first question, but before going forward with the question, I want to show you that if you go to edutap.co.in, you can go to this website, and here if you want to know more about any particular exam, you can go to the free material, to the blogs. The blogs are prepared in a very detailed manner to give you the idea regarding the examination that you want to do. Okay, so exam information, if you go to exam information, you can go to any of the exam that you are preparing for, SEBI, NABARD, RBI, whichever exam you are preparing for, you can go to that and you can have the exam information, the exam analysis, eligibility criteria, cutoff marks and such. As well as if you want to know about the strategy of the examination, so for sure, the different components, how you have to strategize regarding the different components, that is also present here. Now, if you want to know the success stories, that how the aspirants have able to clear their dream, have been able to clear the examination, so that is also provided here. So the blogs have been prepared in a very detailed manner to give you the understanding about the examination. So I hope this is clear. देखो PDF तो हम देते हैं ANM, PDF 24 आवर्स के बाद आता है. तो क्या होता है, जैसे मैंने अभी सेशन लिया एट 10 AM, तो अगले दिन 10 AM या 12 PM तक आपको PDF मिल जाएगा, पर हम एकदम से नहीं दे पाते, बिकॉज कोई भी चेंज होता है तो फैकल्टीज को करना पड़ता है, उसके बाद सपोर्ट टीम के पास जाता है जो टेलीग्राम में जो है PDF डाल देती है. तो ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता कि PDF नहीं गया, PDF जाता है. एज वेल एज हाउ यू कैन सर्च द PDF इज, पहले डेट, usually whenever the session happened. So if the session has happened on, what is the date today? 4th July. So the 4th July 2024, then the topic BIS, then Finance 360. So this is how we name the PDFs also. Okay, so that you can bifurcate the PDFs. Yes, okay. So yes, on the Saturday, FSR session will be conducted on Saturday at 10 AM. So be present with me, because it was very comprehensively that I am going through the FSR report, and it is going to be a very good session that you will be attending. So do join the FSR. There are very interesting points. When I was reading the FSR also, I was also shocked that okay, this is happening in the country, or this is happening around the world. So there are some very interesting points, so you should be joining the session. Okay, so now this is the first question. I hope you will be easily able to answer this question. This is the second question. I hope you will be able to answer this question also. And the data points, do read about this. Some of the data points we will be understanding again in the FSR, in the financial stability report also. Some of these data points have been mentioned, so we will discuss it then also. Yes, if dollar is appreciating against rupees, that means rupees is depreciating against dollars. If dollar is appreciating against rupees, that means rupee is depreciating against dollars, because dollar is becoming stronger against rupees, so rupees is becoming weaker against dollars. That is the means, na? That is the meaning. If dollar is appreciating against rupees, rupee is depreciating against dollar. Understood, Ritika? So now before going and ending the session, a big announcement from EduTap that we have brought for you the comprehensive guidebook for RBI, NABARD and SEBI, so that through this guidebook you can know more about your particular examinations, as well as you can get the syllabus, the pattern of the examination. Even the previous year questions are provided with these guidebooks, so they are absolutely free of cost to provide you the previous year questions, to provide you the understanding about the examination. And the link is provided in the description box below, so you can download the guidebook, you can download the PYQs very easily. So do go through the description box and do get the guidebooks and the previous year questions. Okay, you're most welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Now let's meet in the Saturday session. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Do tell me the answer of the homework questions in the comment section. If you have any query, do tell me in the comment section. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. You're most welcome, Neha.